Hey, what's going on YouTube? Alabama Reloader here. So today's video is going to be shorter. There's not going to be any range footage or anything like that. No results. This is just kind of a short video. Really, the subject, kind of what I'm mostly going to be talking about is this Lee full length sizing die for 6 arc. The wind's blowing like insane today. It's crazy. I was going to try to maybe go to the range, try to get this stuff loaded up, hit the range, but looked at the forecast. It's isolated thunderstorms rolling through. The winds are consistently 15 miles per hour plus, gust up to like 20, over 20 miles per hour. It's just all bad. So I don't feel like going and shooting in that. But what I'm doing here, so this is actually going to be our 4th firing on this brass. This is the Hornady brass that we started with. Bought, remember, if you'll recall, I bought 2 boxes of the factory ammo. It was the Hornady, I believe it was the Hornady match maybe, or something, whatever I could find. I can't remember what it was now, but I believe it might have had the 108 ELD match in it. I think I can't remember. You have to go back and watch the first video. That's neither here nor there, but this will be the 4th firing that we've had on this brass. So yeah, so far it's held up pretty good. Primer pockets are not bad at all. They still feel really good. I'm using the CCI 400 primers. The second firing that I put on this brass, that was when we were testing stuff and we, popped primers and all of that crazy high pressure stuff. So I thought that we might run into some loose primer pockets because of that, but we haven't yet. So this will be the 4th firing. I've got, so obviously I've fired three rounds of 40 through the rifle so far, because this is 40 pieces of brass. So 120 shots on the Savage 110 Tactical. I'm a big fan of that platform. I had one in 6.5 Creedmoor that just shot lights out. So I'm just a big fan of that platform in general from Savage, and it's a great overall rifle. Kind of heavy on the, if you plan on hunting with it. But if you're going to be like sitting in a shooting house, or if you're going to be more stationary when you hunt and just kind of set up, maybe if you're hunting power lines or food plot or something where you can get comfortable and get situated and prop up and all that, it's not a big deal as far as the weight goes. But what I'm doing is we're actually going to be testing 2 85 grain bullets. Remember, for me and what I'm trying to accomplish with the 6 arc, it's more geared toward hunting applications, right? I mean, just, you can tell by the bullet selection that we have, all this stuff 6.5, but the rest of this is 6. So, based on that, that's really what I'm geared towards, is deer hunting, whitetail deer, hog hunting, that type of stuff. So, and then also we'll load down, I've loaded down to the 58 grain in the previous video. That'll be more varmint oriented type stuff, but yeah, so that's what we're doing. And I'm using Hornady's load data. This is for their 85 Interbond, and then 87 grain stuff, and then 90 grain ELDX. They lump all those together with the same load data. And I'm using Hodgdon Benchmark. It's not the highest velocity powder, but it's, again, on the list of powders that I have that I just want to test. Benchmark is such a good powder in 223. Back when I had a Ruger American chambered in 223, that was my go-to powder. That was basically the powder that I chose. I believe was 69 grain Match Kings, and that thing, it shoots lights out. That combination does. So they're saying a max of 28.2. We are not going up to that. All I'm doing is I'm starting at 27, and I'm working up in 0.2 of a grain increments. So 27, 27.2, 0.4, 0.6. This is the Spear 85 grain boat tail Spitzer. And then over here will be the 85 grain Partition. Okay, so that'd be 20, so it's 4 or 5 shot groups, and then 4 or 5 shot groups, right? So that's basically the load data that we're running with. We're loading these guys at 2.150 cartridge overall length. Again, this is just, we're just casting a wide net here on all these videos. We're not really diving in too deep. We're just skimming the surface on, different bullets, different powders, Haven't changed up the primers yet. I'm still rolling with the CCI 400s. I think some people have recommended maybe switching to the 450s. A Magnum primer might do a little bit better in this cartridge, but we're just going to keep going with the 400s. So the full length sizing die. So it kind of goes to, it's more geared toward the people that I've had people comment on my videos. Hey, I'm just looking at getting into reloading. What do you recommend? Or, they're new to the hobby. And it's an amazing hobby. Y'all check out the bench. Look at that. So I haven't made a ton of progress on cleaning this thing up, right? I'm pretty well organized over here. Right? I got my reload manuals, some dies, bullets, whatever. So I'm kind of organized over there, but the bench in general, pretty rough. But this is more or less geared towards those people. And, so far I'm using the Lee pace setter die set. So it's a 3-die set. You've got a full-length sizing die. You've got a bullet seating die, which this is basically a paperweight in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of the Lee bullet seating dies. And then it also comes with the factory crimp die, this guy, which these, I'm a big fan of these as well. If I were going to crimp, this is the die that I would want to use. But I don't really crimp a lot, almost never in my bolt action. So I basically never crimp. So this die, if you go on YouTube and there's good old boys like myself who just turn on a camera, film what they do and then upload the content to YouTube. Anybody can do that, right? It's a platform where anyone can upload anything they want to within reason, right? I mean, you got YouTube out there kind of censoring some stuff, but for the most part, when it comes to this, I can say whatever I want to really about the process, what to do, how to do it, and just upload it and it's out there. Well, so what you have to understand is if you're someone new coming into this, there's so much information out there on YouTube about reloading and certain reloading processes and how to do things and what you should buy, what you shouldn't buy, what die you should use, what you should not use, and all, I mean, there's so much and it's so involved. And depending on who you watch and what you believe and what you're trying to achieve and all this stuff, there's so many different things and rabbit holes that you can dive down into regarding neck tension and all that stuff and whatever, right? There's just so much that you can get into. And I think some people get bogged down by all of that because you start watching that content and you're like, oh man, now I need a Redding body die, and then I got to go buy some 21st century, expanding mandrels, and well, now I need to turn my necks if I'm going to use bushing dies, and what bushing do I need? A short action customs bushing? Because Bolt Action Reloading did a video on it and he showed that, man, they're better than any other bushing out there. Should I get those? You start to kind of dive down this rabbit hole of the hobby known as reloading. And if you're starting out, here's my recommendation to you. Go buy a Lee pace, especially for 6 arc. This is just my experience so far in 6 arc. Go buy a full length sizing die by Lee and call it a day and use that, because here's the main point is I set this die up. Hopefully you can hear that. Probably need to shut the door because the wind's going nuts. But I've got a slight cam over. You hear it pop at the bottom just a little bit. It's not much, but that die is making really good contact with this shell holder. All of the slop is taken out. All of that, right? But when I resize my brass, I do a full length resize on it. I'm using Hornady one-shot case lube. That setting only pushes the shoulder back 2 thousandths. That's it. I'm pushing the shoulder back 2 thousandths with that setting. So this die is cut very well for not over sizing your brass, not working your brass too much. That's something, that's another thing you're going to hear a lot of people talk about, is the different ways to size your brass and different ways to set up your full length sizing die. Make sure you don't overwork it and that type of stuff. But just in this particular instance, in this cartridge, the way this die is cut, that is perfect. I'm able to set the die up, take all the slop out of out of the process, and I'm only pushing the shoulder back 2 thousandths. And on top of that, if you want to then go, okay, well, I need to control my neck tension. All 20 of these, I measured them, and they're all 2 thousandths. So I'm getting 2 thousandths of neck tension. I'm with this die setting, just a Lee full length sizing die in 6 arc. I'm pushing the shoulder back 2 thousandths, which is what typically that's what you hear a lot of people say. Hey, push it back 1,000th, 2 thousandths, whatever, in a bolt gun, right? In a semi-auto platform, maybe just a little bit more to make sure everything cycles properly. But you hear that thrown around a lot. 2 thousandths of shoulder bump is going to be great, and then 1/2,000ths neck tension, depending on what you're running. Again, semi-auto, you may need just a little bit more, or you want to throw in a crimp, whatever, to prevent the setback of the bullets and all this different stuff, changing overall lengths in the action when it cycles. So that's kind of that's really the main point of the video is if you're new to this thing, you got to keep it simple, right? Go buy you a Lee breech lock, Challenger, single stage press, buy you a set of Lee dies, learn what those do first, and then dive off into the rabbit hole of everything else if that's what you want to do, right? I mean, if you want to go in and start neck turning your brass and doing all this other, which there's tons of content out there now that shows that, well, neck turning, what you really need to do is turn the inside of the brass is what you really need to do. You need to turn inside and outside so everything is consistent and very uniform, and otherwise you're just wasting your time, right? So you can just go down all these different rabbit holes, but man, from my experience, I've had great luck using Lee full length sizing dies. Their bullet seating dies, again, are paperweights in my opinion. They're just terrible. I would rather have a Hornady bullet seater with the micro just on it, because you can buy different seating stems, which work very well. And that's what I'm going to transition to. I actually have a 243 Winchester Hornady bullet seating die. So I'm going to switch to that at some point, but for right now, I'm just running the die set using the full length sizer and the bullet seater on all these tests. So, but yeah, that's kind of where I've fallen on this whole situation. It's just my experience. Just wanted to pass that along, especially to folks that are getting into it, or you're watching these videos. Maybe you come across this video. Keep it as simple as possible, because you can complicate this stuff very quickly otherwise. So that's really it. And also another thing about Lee, to trim this brass, so to trim the 6 arc brass, I actually went a different route. Typically, and I'm a huge fan of this, the Lee case length gauge and shell holder. The little gauge, you can buy this adapter. I think when I bought it was maybe $8 or $9 when I bought it. Probably more expensive now, but it threads right onto your case prep station, and then you screw the gauge into it, and you're able to trim your brass, and you can keep it all in one process, right? You can typically, what I do, I'll trim it first, and then get some power to this thing. I'll trim it first, and then I'll do the chamfer and the deburr, and then clean out the neck, and then do the primer pocket afterwards. So that's basically how I run my process when I prep my brass. Huge fan of that. That's my go-to way to trim stuff. Just very consistent. I tried this quick trim die this go around. I just wanted to try something different, and it works pretty good. It's not bad at all. You do have the ability to make some adjustments with this little black ring right here. I think you've got, I believe there's like 10 thousandths of adjustment that you can make with this thing. It's okay. It gets the job done, right? You can trim all the brass, but I kind of prefer this method. That way I can basically optimize my process to where I'm trimming, and then I'm doing the other operations as well, and then I'm done with that piece of brass, and I can put it back in the block. So that's it. It was just kind of a little quick spill on that. Happy Mother's Day coming up to all the mothers out there. Stepmother, biological mother, whatever, right? Foster parent, you name it. Oh, it's starting to pour down rain now. So happy Mother's Day to everyone out there. This is Friday, this is Friday, May 6th. Yes. So tomorrow, Saturday morning, I'm getting this video posted today on Friday. In the morning from 7 to 11, we have that all-you-can-eat pancake breakfast at my church, Sheepgate Christian Fellowship, Paint Rock, Alabama. 7 to 11, $10, all you can eat, pancakes, bacon, and our kitchen staff, they're making homemade sausage. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to be working the event, so I'll be there from pretty much the whole time. I'll be there serving pancakes, doing whatever they need me to do, right? Helping clean, whatever. Running and getting folks drinks, you name it, whatever I need to do. So I'll be there. Y'all need to come out, get you some pancakes. Again, all you can eat. It's going to be a wonderful way to kick off Mother's Day weekend. So, you know, come see us, come hang out with us. And all of the proceeds go to the Bible camps that we put on as a church. We've got 4 camps this summer, 4 camps coming up this summer, and so all the proceeds go to that. That's it. It doesn't go anywhere else. It goes directly into the ministry, so it's awesome. Don't forget, you know, if you're looking for reloading supplies, firearms, whatever, you name it, Mr. Big Guns in Huntsville, that's stop number 1 for reloading stuff. If you're looking to build rifles, if you're looking to get into that type of thing, whatever, I mean, those guys are great. They know all the whiz-bang stuff that you need. Go check them out. And then Midway Pistol and Ammo in Gurley. That's a great, it's a great place. Firearms, optics, ammunition, whatever. Go see those guys as well. Wonderful folks to deal with. So those are the 2 places I like to shop. Go check them out. And then also a huge shout out to my buddy Sandy Barnett. You'll see him in the comment section. This dude, look at all this brass. He commented on one of my videos like, hey man, I got some brass I want to give to you. And at first I was, you know, in my mind, I'm like, oh, okay, he's probably got, you know, maybe 100 pieces of brass or something. He's just kind of collected, you know, whatever, picked up at the range or something. Little did I know, the dude, I met him over at Midway Pistol and Ammo after church. And I walk up to his truck. He opens up the back door to his truck, and it's like just brass everywhere. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's what I'm talking about. So huge shout out to him, man. I really appreciate that. That was very generous of him. He didn't have to do that. So I really appreciate it, because that stuff's going to come in handy. It's 7mm Alt 8, 30-06, 270. It's calibers that, you know, I'm trying to work up loads for people, for friends or family. It's very popular, common calibers, that I need that brass, right? I need that stuff because it's not always available. You can't just go out and buy it. It just gets expensive when you're trying to do that. So, and I really appreciate that stuff. But yeah, y'all come hang out with us at church, man. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great time. Happy Mother's Day to everyone, especially my wife. She's an amazing mother. Happy Mother's Day to my mom. Just an amazing mother. I couldn't have asked for a better one growing up. Love her to death. So y'all get out, you know, spend time with your mother. Don't just make it a once a year thing, you know, where you set aside time to really devote to your mother. Man, if you've got a motherly figure in your life, right, you should be expressing that appreciation to them more than just once a year, right? So get out there, spend time with your family this weekend, and it'll be a minute probably before I'm able to get this stuff shot and post another video. I've got a trip coming up, and I'll be gone for a little while. So I'm hoping I can get a range day in before that, but if not, we'll catch y'all when I get back. So, all right, y'all have a good one.